Well, hello there. Social media family, any subscribers and our visitors alike, being a persons among yourselves who are affiliated, associated with, and are representing my own YouTube social media channel and likewise chat room or comment section or whatever I have said. How are you all doing? Well, hopefully everyone is doing at least okay. If not better yet, to be said all right, or if not best of all, to be said and our likewise for that matter, stated for record, to be feeling blessed and stressed, more blessed and stressed, or too blessed to possibly become or be stressed. You know, you and yours, your family and friends, and hopefully me and mine, likewise, as well, or the same, or whatever. I've said, please do excuse, pardon, forgive me for butchering the English language or the American dialect with all of its grammatical uses, qualities, and all quantities. Well, not just practically, but then, excuse me, or possibly the umpteenth consecutive time. And moving right along. But then please do disregard any possible and potential disruptions or interruptions to the present social media broadcast of video content, whereas I would have little, if any, control over what goes on outside my apartment door. As you all know, I have this one being the main public nuisance of a problem neighbor, of a perverted neighbor from damn hell, being of a local vicinity area neighborhood community drug pusher, male character of a black male individual who continues to assume that he has a legit personal vendetta or grudge match with me, being my person. And whereas I haven't, oh, sorry about that. That was my watch around my neck. Anyway, though, and getting back to some such as backtrack here, the reason on purpose is being, so I could go on with the following to continue from where when my person had last left off, so I can finish up as a complete the form previous prior, and I thought, and the saying his word, and before I would possibly become subject to experiencing, a memory lapse, and hopefully not as well, an episode of a speech impediment or defect, or whatever, or I have to. Then, whereas I have never done anything or even so much as said anything to him to warrant and or justify all of this negative attention being in which he gives me upon a daily and or nightly basis, being the main neighbor from down here, or public nuisance problem neighbor among the likes of his kind here, being the worst ones yet, and for a worse neighborhood compared to the ones being of whom I have had to be bothered with elsewhere when I was a resident tenant in a better neighborhood before the last neighbor from down here had flipped the script upon me and convinced the management of the building, being of administrative real estate representative personnel, to give me the walking papers that he should have received much rather than me after I went through all the proper policies and procedures of protocol to complain about him and his daily and nightly violations of his apartment rental lease, and likewise his total disregard or complete disrespect for my rights and privileges as his fellow neighbor. And upon short notice, I'm having to move here where I'm at now just to keep from becoming possibly of the rank and file of derelict transients. Derelict transients as in the homeless of derelict transients. And to compliment an old saying that goes something like this here, so I paraphrase, if not quote exactly: out of the frying pan and into the fire. Because where I'm at now, although I'm not homeless, but then I'm having to put up with even worse neighbors from down hell in a worse neighborhood for vicinity community within some such city limits as we have it for the city of metropolitan Chicago with all of its surrounding suburbs. So as I was saying, if you hear any disruptions or interruptions to the present social media broadcast, video content being of this particular one, then I would have little, if any, control over it, just as long as whatever or whoever stays outside my apartment door, then we should not have a problem. And I do believe in dialing the emergency number of 911 to call the police to let them know that there's trouble in paradise, or for this hellhole, you know. Whereas I have a hole in the wall in this hellhole for a pad that I pay annual monthly rent, utilities, and etc. for. And it's one proverbial neighbor from down hell of a local drug pusher among my present public nuisance is a problem neighbor. He usually gives me a wake-up call in the morning and a lullaby at night. Read between lines, fill in the blanks, And because he's an idiot and a sicko, not to mention that much more of a creep, psychopath, sociopath, cowardly bully, terrorist wannabe, creepy, cowardly, faggy male character. Other likes of his kind of social rejects. The rank and file of public enemy number ones, as well as some usual suspects. And moving right along. And to conclude that as what they call an icebreaker. I'm just trying to bide my time here until I can get on elsewhere. And, I'm just trying to ignore him, whereas he has continued to attempt to force a social involvement and our relationship upon me, then in which I'm not interested in that's possibly becoming or being even so much of a business associate of his, for obvious and evident reasons and purposes for my person having said so, being in which should prove to have become or be self-explanatory, as well as it would go double or triple be said. So I say interjecting before I were to conclude some such matters as this social media broadcast of video content being in the present one is not about him, but or a different subject matter or topic of discussion to be debated, of giving an argument with the many different views and opinions to be affiliated, associated with, representing thereof, and with this slight interjection I say. And, speaking upon him before I were to close out and get to the original subject matter, topic of discussion, or give an argument with whatever I said. And whereas the way he continues to attempt to force a social environment or relationship upon me, it's like, a male rapist character would attempt to establish a sane relationship with one's former female sexual assault victim or rape victim, when that would defy all logic. Okay. For obvious reasons or purposes, for my person having said so, being a wish should prove to have become or be a no-brainer, as in self-explanatory, or as it would go double or triple be said, as well as it would go without saying. And now, moving right along to get to the original subject matter, or topic of discussion to be debated, or that being of a given argument with the many different views and or opinions to be affiliated, associated with, and representing thereof. I don't know if all of your persons have heard about the latest, current events of a news headline story. I'm pretty sure that some of you have, compared to others that may not have as yet heard about some of such of a criminal incident, being of which was orchestrated, initiated, and or perpetrated by the likes persons among themselves, unfortunately, being public servant officials who are supposed to serve and protect for their own profession, vocation, or whatever I said, and whereas they had done that, being of the total opposite among themselves that they did, and to put a bad stain on that police badge and uniform of theirs, as they had come off like of the likes of dirty cops or police officers and detectives, whereas they had stopped a criminal suspect in his ride, as an automobile or motor vehicle. And, well, he was partly responsible for what had happened to him, being that because he shot at the law enforcement personnel officials, cops and detectives. And so from there, they had opened up on him and lit him up like the 4th of July, you know, whereas it only takes about a few shots coming from any police officers or detectives, to render a criminal suspect incapable of resisting being taken into custody or to be apprehended or arrested, not to mention to disable him otherwise. But nevertheless, they did the total opposite. I mean, for God's sake, Jesus Christ, they made him look like a block of Swiss cheese. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they shot at him, not a dozen, not a few dozen times. Laquan McDonald, of another criminal suspect before then, he had gotten shot by the police, cops and detectives, or law enforcement officials, or whatever, something like 16 times himself. But this other criminal suspect, of the likes of the rank and file, the usual suspects, public enemy number ones, was shot, like something like, oh wow, let me think. He himself was shot. How many times can 12 going to 100? Let's see, do the math. Yeah, he was shot something like. I have to sorry, hold it. I have to compute this here in the ink pen right on my hand. Let me see. 12 into 100. I mean, he was actually shot 100 times. Can you imagine that? 12 times 8. Okay, 8. He was shot. He was shot on more than 8 dozen times. He was shot more than 8 dozen times. 12 goes into 100 8 times. Comes out to 90 with 10 left over. He was shot more than 8 dozen times. Close to 100, something like that, give or take a number. Imagine that 100 times. How many times do you have to shoot a person before you kill one? If you're a good shot, if you have practice, you're a police officer or criminal for that matter. And be you a police officer, detective, or criminal suspect or public enemy number one for that matter. If you just take 2 or 3, a couple few shots at a person, in the right place, for the vital organs, you don't even take that many times, just one shot. You could like say from there disable another person to paralyzing or to render a person unconscious or shoot a person dead, But these cops, these police officers, detectives, they shot this criminal suspect of a public enemy number one, close to 100 times. 8 dozen times, close to 100 times. Close to 100 times, I say. What do they think? They were at a carnival or something? I mean, don't get me wrong. I myself personally support our local police officers and or detectives, but so far as the dirty cops are concerned, how the saying goes, I got no love for them. They have violated their police credentials. I mean, they had taken an oath, to serve and protect, and they had done or did the total opposite like that. That is just outrageous. It's ridiculous. It's ignorant. It's insane. Cuckoo for Cocoa Pops. Crazy. Damn crazy for them to shoot a criminal suspect of a public enemy number one that many times. Wow. So I extend my condolences to the remaining surviving family members of loved ones of the perp that was shot. Don't support dirty cops. Only the law-abiding law enforcement officials, And so those dirty cops, they should be tried and convicted. You hear what I'm saying? They should be tried and convicted. They should be penalized. They should be fined and incarcerated because their actions is to be considered as civil and human rights violation offenses, cruel and unusual punishment. Is that what I'm saying? That's one way of putting it. Their actions are suspected of being of criminal intent. To be considered as being a which would be of some source or such types that would complement a hate crime. Maybe even being of a racist connotation. You hear what I'm saying? Because you don't need to shoot a person that many times to disable a person. You hear what I'm saying? I mean, that's just crazy. That's insane. Defies all reason. I mean, really now. And I don't know this myself personally because, I myself am prior military enlistment personnel. I made what was that? Marksman on the rifle range when I was in the military for a branch of service of the U.S. military, and I made expert on the grenade range. It don't take that many times to disable a criminal suspect, a usual suspect, the criminal suspect among the rank and file, the usual suspects in public enemy number ones. They don't take that many shots. So they should be punished. They should be tried and convicted in the jail. They should be tried and convicted in the courtroom setting, what I meant to say, and then go to jail from there. You all take care and be safe. We out. Peace.